Too many supercars are inspired by racing. What you need is a car born from it, a thoroughbred track machine. Praga feels the same way. For over a century, the brand has been manufacturing fine automobiles in Central Europe. Their latest models are a spit in the face of every exotic on the market. Dedicated race cars that can outperform your cushy Ferraris and Lamborghinis without a second thought. So if the Aston Martin Valkyrie is too pedestrian for your taste, then step into the Praga R1R Supersport for less than a tenth of the cost. Founded in 1907, Praga sold luxury cars, motorbikes, and even aircraft, up until their factory in Czechoslovakia was captured by German occupation forces during World War II. They were then forced to build tanks until an Allied bombardment destroyed the production line in 1945. After the war, the new communist government commissioned the rebuilt factory to assemble work trucks, and later reduced output to just transmission units, ending Praga's line of luxury automobiles. It wasn't until the split of the Czech Republic in the 90s that Praga was finally free to pursue cars once again, and they began introducing new trucks, shifter karts, and enduro motorcycles to the world. They finally entered the supercar scene in 2011 with the Praga R4. A tube-frame exotic with performance that they compared to a Gallardo GT3 Super Trofeo. The R4 was based on the K1 Attack kit car, made by a company that is also based out of the Czech Republic. Of course, Praga made their own additions to the car, like a roof snorkel and revised rear fascia with an enormous diffuser. The R4 was meant to compete with track weapons like the radical SR8, while appealing to customers who preferred a closed cockpit experience. Under the rear deck lid was a Hayabusa-derived V8 engine, which was later swapped for a 3.8-liter V6 from Nissan's VQ lineup, tuned to produce 400 horsepower. The R4 was a success, but behind the scenes, Praga was secretly developing their own all-original track car. Taking their experiences from the R4 project and the SR8 testing, they devised a highly competitive, street-legal racing supercar, unveiled in 2012 as the Praga R1. It's based not on a kit car, but a carbon fiber monocoque tub, designed in-house with inboard Koni dampers and advanced crash structures. Since its debut over a decade ago, the R1 has had numerous updates made to it, and several unique trim levels offered. These include the R1R Supersport, the only street-legal variant introduced in 2016 and limited to just 68 examples, the R1T Evo, debuting in 2018 with an upgraded turbocharged system, and finally, a full carbon fiber model introduced in 2021 with an updated second-generation chassis. The exterior of the R1 has always had a clear focus on aerodynamics. At 125 miles per hour, they say it will produce more downforce than the weight of the car itself, meaning it could theoretically drive on the ceiling of a tunnel. Like Aston Martin's $4 million Valkyrie, the R1 is designed around a teardrop-shaped cockpit. Everything has been shrunk and sculpted as tightly as possible for improved airflow. There are NACA ducts, winglets, and intakes at every angle. With such an intense focus on weight savings and compact performance, the interior of the R1 leaves little room for paraphernalia. With the exception of the road-going R1R, most models only feature one seat, providing an authentic central position racing experience. Everything here is carbon fiber, from the aggressive bucket seats to the paddle shifters. The steering wheel is equipped with Cosworth electronic telemetry systems, reading out your RPMs and speed in a small built-in display. Unlike the R4's Nissan VQ engine, the R1 has an actual racing motor, engineered by the Formula Renault team. It's a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that revs to 7,500 RPM. Early R1 models were tuned to produce 210 horsepower, but the latest generation comes with 365. It's paired with a custom Hewland 6-speed sequential transmission with paddle shifters and standard auto blip downshift. Praga chose this drivetrain for its lightweight capability. You don't need that much power to push something that weighs so little, and they say it requires less maintenance than a typical racing engine. That said, it will still require an engine rebuild every 4,500 kilometers, or a little less than 3,000 miles. But if you can live with the compromises to comfort, convenience, and longevity, then you'll be left with one of the most dedicated track performers on the market. The Praga R1 weighs just 643 kilograms, or about 1,400 pounds. That's less than a Formula 1 car. Additionally, all the focus on aerodynamics means it can generate up to 3 Gs of lateral cornering force. That type of downforce doesn't exactly lend itself well to top speed runs, although the R1 can easily do over 150 miles per hour. 0 to 60 is estimated to take less than 3 seconds as well. But straight line performance was never the aim of Praga. The R1 is instead built to achieve consistently fast lap times. To that end, it competes in numerous racing leagues around the world. There are Praga entrants in the UK's Zero Prototype Series, the annual FARA Miami Grand Prix, Australia's Prototype Series, and Europe's Supercar Challenge, not to mention countless casual track day outings and even a few time attack events. With a respectable motorsports reputation now in hand, Praga has turned their focus back to road cars. In 2022, they released the Boheima to the world. Its name is taken from Bohemia, the historic Slavic region where the city of Prague now sits. The Boheima is described as the ultimate track-focused hypercar. Using an entirely new carbon fiber monocoque structure, it weighs just 982 kilograms, or 2,165 pounds, placing it somewhere between a typical hypercar and an LMP1 race car. Praga once again borrowed from Nissan for a drivetrain. A GTR-derived 3.8-liter twin-turbo V6 is at the heart of the Boheima, pumping out 700 horsepower. Although it's clearly a race-honed machine, some thought was taken for practicality, making it much more streetable than the R1. A storage space is included in the car's rear fender, and the interior is decked out with Alcantara and ceiling-mounted switchgear. Unlike many other niche concept exotics, the Boheima isn't just a prototype. The first customer delivery already took place in December 2024. The price starts at around $1.3 million, and only 89 examples will be built. For something slightly more attainable, the Praga R1 is also still offered, though the street-legal edition R1R has long since ended production. With the custom nature of each car built, the cost can vary a lot, but estimates put the R1 at about $160,000. At that price, it competes with options like the Radical RXC and KTM Crossbow. What are your thoughts on Praga? Is the R1 well suited to an amateur racing career? And will the Boheima place it in the same category as bespoke hypercar brands like Pagani and Koenigsegg? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and remember to subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.